Let me ask you something impossible to unhear. What if, right now, Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, and Oprah Winfrey all walked into one room and agreed on one hidden practice, the exact practice that cracked open every door, funded every dream, and rewired their place in history? What if that practice cost no money, required no contacts, and happened where cameras never reach? Most people will never know what it is. Some people will hear it, but brush it off because it sounds too simple. A tiny fraction will do it quietly for years, and the world will call them overnight successes. Tonight, you and I are going backstage. Not for gossip, not for fanboy trivia, but for the machinery that took three completely different humans and made them household names. By the end of this video, you'll know the invisible shift every legend completes before the first headline appears. 2. Exactly how Musk, Jobs, and Oprah performed that shift in three wildly different styles. 3. A step-by-step playbook for installing it in your own life, starting tonight in total privacy. Ready to hear the whisper behind empires? Let's drop in. Success is loud. The shift that births it is silent. The newspapers show you IPO bells, award speeches, bestseller lists. They don't show you the 6 months Elon spent breaking rock by hand at a Canadian lumber mill. 12-hour shifts, steel-toed boots, mind drifting into thought experiments about space travel. They don't show Steve Jobs in a drafty attic, sitting cross-legged for 45 minutes, staring at a blank white wall until the noise in his skull fell silent. Or Oprah scratching 3 sentences of gratitude into a spiral notebook in the dark because electricity had been cut off again. What happened in those rooms? A shift from external validation to internal authorship. I no longer want to succeed. I've already become the person who does. That sentence, spoken only in the privacy of their own minds, changes the entire game, and it never trends on Twitter. Picture 12-year-old Elon in Pretoria, South Africa. Skinny, shy, bullied almost daily. School ends, bruises fade, and he walks home alone, clutching 2 library books. He'll finish both tonight. One is Robert Heinlein's The Moon is a Harsh Mistress, fiction. The other is a dusty college physics text, non-fiction. Why both? Because Elon is running an experiment. He wants to know, if I feed my brain equal parts imagination and raw first principle science, what future will it synthesize? Years later, journalists gush over reusable rockets. They forget the real story. 3,500 hours of solitary reading in his teens. That's a full academic PhD's worth of pages, conducted in silence, with no teacher, no applause, no curriculum. Fast forward to 2002. Musk is worth $180 million after PayPal. Most people buy islands. He buys another stack of books, aero engineering, cryogenic fuel, Soviet booster designs. Friends beg him to outsource the rocket science. But Elon has an old rule: never outsource first principles. So he spends nights in a borrowed office, coffee gone cold, scribbling propulsion tables alone. Out of frame, janitors vacuum around him. In frame, we just see a man at a desk, eyes lit by a single task lamp. Here's the secret moment. 2 a.m. Los Angeles, November 2004. After a 14-hour calculation sprint, he stands up, cracks his neck, and whispers, "It's doable. We can cut cost per kilogram to orbit by 90%. Nobody hears that whisper, but that whisper has more thrust than any Merlin engine. What Elon teaches us. 1. Isolation is not loneliness when it's used as a laboratory. 2. First principles thinking isn't a buzzword, it's a muscle built in the dark. 3. The shift occurs the instant you identify your impossible math problem and solve it for yourself, not for applause. But maybe you're not a physics savant. Maybe your genius hides in intuition, not equations. For that, we turn to a barefoot college dropout in 1970s California. Steve Jobs goes to India at 20. He isn't hunting code, he's hunting emptiness, the rarest resource in Silicon Valley. Weeks later, he's back in Los Altos on a bare wood floor, eyes closed, counting his breath. No MacBook, no VC pitch deck, just the echo of his heartbeat. Friends call it weird. He calls it design research. Because every pixel Apple will ever ship, the click wheel, the glass pane, the bite in the logo, begins here in what Zen monks call Shoshin, beginner's mind. Jobs holds a plastic shell, eyes half-lidded, listening for whether the object feels inevitable. If silence doesn't answer, he sends the design back. He tells engineers, simple can be harder than complex. You have to work hard to get your thinking clean. Clean thinking is impossible in chaotic environments, so he guards stillness like copyright. Secret ritual. Every Thursday morning, 6 a.m., he drives alone to a coastal cliff outside Pescadero, leaves the car, stands barefoot on wet grass, headphone wires flapping in ocean wind. 10 minutes. No talking, just watching fog crawl over the Pacific. That field trip appears nowhere on Apple's org chart. Yet insiders swear new product epiphanies always land Friday afternoon, less than 36 hours after the cliff ritual. What Jobs teaches us. 1. Stillness is not passive. It's the most aggressive filter in the creative process. 2. When you subtract noise long enough, intuition stops whispering and starts shouting. 3. You can't A/B test originality. You have to sit with it until it introduces itself. But there's a different kind of silence, the silence that sits on top of old wounds. To learn that alchemy, we head to Mississippi. Oprah Winfrey grows up wearing potato sack dresses. At night, rats skitter under the shack door. She escapes by reading Bible verses to imaginary audiences, tiny seeds of future stadiums. She had a very difficult life during her childhood. Most statistics say she should vanish into tragedy. But Oprah rewrites the script, literally. Secret ritual. At bedtime, she opens a dime store notebook. Left page, 3 sentences describing the worst moment of her day, raw, unfiltered. Right page, 3 sentences extracting 1 lesson, 1 strength, and 1 next morning micro-action. Psychologists now call this cognitive reappraisal. Oprah called it survival homework. She performs the exercise 2,400 nights in a row, nearly 7 years, before anyone pays her to speak. One evening in 1986, after taping the 3rd pilot of what will become the Oprah Winfrey Show, the network brass suggests toning down the personal sharing segments. They say viewers prefer gossip. Oprah smiles, thanks them, walks to her dressing room and journals. Authenticity is non-negotiable. My story heals when I tell it. Next month, ratings triple. What Oprah teaches us. 1. Pain is unspent energy. Transmute it or it leaks forever. 2. Private, structured reflection beats public venting every time. Number 3. Your scar can become your signature if you author the narrative. 3 legends. 3 radically different daily calendars. Yet one identical meta-skill, identity engineering. Before the market listed their companies, they listed their future selves. Before investors bought shares, they bought their own worldview in secret installments. And here's the kicker. The world didn't change because they succeeded. It changed because they already saw themselves as the kind of people who must succeed, long before proof arrived. That is the chain reaction we're here to replicate. Meanwhile, here's the default modern ritual. 1. Wake. 2. Absorb 600 pieces of random content before breakfast. 3. React to everything. Originate nothing. 4. Fall asleep drained, wondering why clarity feels extinct. That loop installs an identity too. The identity of permanent civilian in somebody else's story. But loops break the moment you introduce a pattern interrupt. So let's hand you the tools. Here are 5 rituals tested by thousands, calibrated from our 3 case studies. Do them for 90 days in silence. Your friends can keep their hustle porn, you'll be busy installing an operating system. 1. Identity rewrite, 2 min morning/2 min night. Oh right, I am the person who. Followed by 1 character trait, 1 capability, 1 value. Oh, use present tense. Your brain learns by repetition, not accuracy. 2. 10-minute void. Oh, sit upright, no phone, eyes open or closed. Objective is no thoughts. Objective is watching thoughts without engagement, like clouds. Oh, first 3 days will itch. Day 4 will feel like time travel. 3. Gratitude. Transmutation. Oh, 3 worst moments of the day. 3 mind insights. Oh, language matters. Replace that sucked because with that prepared me for. 4. Future pacing film. Oh, visualize 1 perfect normal Tuesday 18 months from now. Colors, smells, inbox count, bank balance, body energy. Oh, replay the exact scene nightly until boredom. Boredom means the brain accepts it as familiar. 5. First Principles Friday. Oh, end of each week, isolate 1 assumption about your project. Oh, ask why. 5 layers deep until you land on a physical truth or a value you refuse to betray. Rebuild the problem from that bedrock. Do these in silence, tell no one. Let the scoreboard gossip later. Need traction faster? Pick one of these micro-challenges for the next 7 days. Digital sunset, phone goes airplane mode at sundown. Idea push-ups, list 10 unique business ideas before coffee, delete list each night. Silence commute, no audio input during any travel. Train your brain to narrate its own future. Each challenge is one more brick in your hidden cathedral. History books call them geniuses, visionaries, moguls. But the real biographies, the ones written in empty rooms at 2 a.m., tell a simpler story. They did the work no one saw. They spoke the identity no one believed, yet they repeated the ritual until reality had no choice but to cooperate. Now it's your turn. Close this tab, open a notebook, sit in an empty room. Write the sentence that feels unrealistic today and read it until it feels like old news. Because your greatest achievements are already waiting. They're just waiting for you to believe them first and see. Subscribe for more invisible tactics. I'll see you, quietly, in the next one.